baby, Super Smash Bros. Coming to Switch, that's how it goes. What's going on, everybody? It's Ghost Robo, and I'm so freaking pumped. The Nintendo Direct today really rocked. And at first hand, I was like, this kind of stinks. But I think it was because my expectations were set awkwardly by leakers and by rumors and by predictions that ended up being not so accurate. And then they dropped Smash and all was well. But I want to kind of cover everything that was announced, the highlights, and the things that weren't announced, and where we kind of stand. First off, I want to say that in a video last week, I made bold predictions for Nintendo Switch 2018. My biggest one was that the two top titles for this fall on Switch would be Smash Bros. And Pokemon Switch. I'm batting 1 for 2 right now. Really, I'm batting 1 for 1 because we haven't heard either way about Pokemon, but I really think we get both, and I really think that's absolutely epic. I don't know that anything will ever compare to a Zelda Mario Year 1, but I feel like the closest you could possibly get Nintendo-wise is a Smash Pokemon Year 2, and by sales figures, it could easily surpass. Those are two titles that will push numbers. Mario Odyssey has sold insanely well. It's cleared 10 million by now. Oh, that's a lot of cappies, and a lot of wedding cakes, and a lot of peaches celebrating International Women's Day by being like, I don't need neither of you, but I still feel like a Smash Poke combo is almost unbeatable. Also today, Mario Tennis Aces proved that it's kind of the next big thing for Mario Sports. I thought it'd be a smaller title. I thought Nintendo had kind of gotten to this point where they're like, hey, we're just gonna kind of like toss out these sports games and it's not gonna really be a big deal and they're getting worse and worse and oh dear God, what happened? Because we had Mario Baseball and Strikers on GameCube, and that was like one of the favorite times of my childhood. Me and Jake would play those over and over again, and we set up tournaments, and we even went to Hollywood Video and competed in a home run derby in Mario Baseball. And then Mario Tennis Aces is full of depth, full of complexity, also full of simplicity. They're really just cornucopia-ing this tennis title. They're bringing some Wii tennis, Wii Sports love with the swing mode, motion control. They're doing purist mode for those people that just want to duke it out, straight up tennis, old school style. And then they've added an energy meter, trick shots, and this whole zone concept that really seems to be enhancing the fun factor of this tennis game. And I feel like they're doing a great job of expanding Mario Tennis Aces beyond the sport that it's trying to represent. And it just may be the next really great Nintendo party game. We'll see on June 22nd. It's after E3. Man, ARMS came out the Friday of E3 last year, and that was epic. I wish this was just shifted a week earlier, because I'm going to be with all my friends, and then I could show my tennis skills. Did you know I played 4 years of varsity tennis, team MVP my junior year? We went to the state quarterfinals. It was insane in California. There's so many teams. Anyhow, I'm really pumped for that one. I'm also very excited for WarioWare Gold. I love WarioWare. I think Wario is great, and I'm just miffed why this isn't on Switch, but they seem to want to give the 3DS legs and a life that I don't know that anyone wants at this point, at least from the Switch audience. I'm sure there's some 3DS hardcore, handheld hardcore that are loving this. I mean, they announced a freaking 2019 game in the form of Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, and Bowser Jr.'s Journey, which is another remake of one of the glorious Mario RPGs. That game is freaking fantastic, so I can't complain too much. I just think it's weird that they're already announcing 2019 3DS titles. Like, what? Luigi's Mansion hitting 3DS. That's cool, right? I wonder if that's wrong. Not because of the game itself, but because of what it may imply. How do we get Virtual Console with GameCube and expect those games to be 10 to 15 bucks if they're going to be selling us a $40 version of Luigi's Mansion on 3DS later this year? To me, that weirded me out. I felt like I was in that Annihilation brain scramble zone because I was like, wait, there's no Virtual Console, and now they're announcing one of the main games people wanted from GameCube Virtual Console, and it's going to be triple the price of what people hoped it would be on GameCube Virtual Console. So maybe there's just no GameCube Virtual Console. Or maybe that's why it's on 3DS and not Switch. I don't know. But I was worried. There were a number of other announcements along the way. Okami HD is hitting eShop. We have Crash Bandicoot making a Switch appearance, a little golf clap for Crash Baby Boy. I really loved that game last year. I think it held up amazingly well. I don't think Spyro is going to hold up as well as that gets announced this year. But I think Crash is a killer, nostalgic game that nails it because the mechanics are still fun and it's a simple system of gameplay ideas that can be easily enhanced visually because the idea isn't that old-fashioned. It's kind of a tried and true, like jumping with challenge is fun. I'm excited for that on Switch. They gave an update on Dark Souls. They're doing so many of these events. A Mario Tennis Aces tournament, another freaking ARMS Global Test Punch, and a Dark Souls network test. Bravo for Dark Souls being handheld now. That's just mind-blowing. Thinking about my Dark Souls series and the struggle and the strife we went through in that game, and now being able to take it on the go, man, I just run away with that game. Back then I probably would have, because man, the Capra Demon, that was a tough challenge. And there were times where I quit that series and freaking had to go on vacation because it stressed me out so much. Not literally, but it lined up timing-wise where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And I happened to be going to Florida the next week and I was like, this is too perfect. But now I could just take Dark Souls with me to Florida on the Switch. I also think the Splatoon 2 DLC is crazy balls. What is with these weirdo cutscenes? First off, why the super wide hips on these Splatoon characters? What is with Nintendo and the butts lately? Why are they so enamored? Twintel, Marina and Pearl, now Octoling Girl, Agent 8. That game looks, or that DLC rather, looks so cool. I wish it would stick more to the trailer than it would just the straight up Splatoon 2 campaign, because they showed like this idea of a gritty narrative-based Splatoon that I was like, ooh, I'm all about that. I know Nintendo doesn't typically do heavy narrative games. They incorporated more in Breath of the Wild, but it's not really their cup of tea. But dude, make it your cup of cocoa. I think Splatoon would be great for narrative. There already is deep lore there. And they do say this game is exploring more stories from some of your favorite characters, but I would love this like underground Octoling adventure where you're riding train to train and just seeing weird creatures. I don't know why they do the weird things they do with like the hip-hop influences and the gold chains, but it's freaking awesome. I don't know who's in charge of those things, but like they deserve a raise. Some things were absent today, and I kind of want to focus there. A lot of predictions stated Fire Emblem Switch would be unveiled today, Mario Odyssey Kingdoms DLC would be unveiled today, and there were heavy rumors that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 would be announced for Switch, and some rumblings of Fortnite as well. I wonder if this is a case of wires getting crossed, because you will note that Luigi's Mansion was announced, but as a remake for 3DS, not as DLC for Mario Odyssey, and Fortnite tonight was announced for mobile, not for Switch. Is this a case of pure coincidence that people have been predicting and calling out this Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion Kingdom DLC, and Fortnite on Switch, and on the day when we think we're getting those, or at least one, we get Luigi's Mansion 3DS and Fortnite mobile? Or is this a case of the scuttlebutt was saying, oh, blah, 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 Fortnite on the go, and it was actually mobile Fortnite, and blah, 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 Luigi's Mansion on Switch, but it was actually Luigi's Mansion 3DS? I don't know. It's either insane coincidence, the planets lining up perfectly in the shape of a freaking Luigi head, or these leakers have their sources in a bunch. A lot of the other stuff didn't happen. Fire Emblem, nowhere to be seen. I still feel like that gets announced at a Direct instead of E3. I just feel like it's a kind of game that it's definitely expanded its audience. It definitely sells super well. Heroes is a hoot and a hit, but I don't know that you dedicate like a ton of time to that at E3. Maybe they will. Maybe they're going to be crazy. Pokemon has never been a part of E3. Boom. I feel like it's got to be there. Maybe Fire Emblem will follow suit. But I still wouldn't be surprised now, based on what we saw today, that if there wasn't another Direct before E3, like a Fire Emblem dedicated one that offered updates for Heroes and then unveiled Switch. Mario Odyssey, I still feel gets DLC. I'm very big on numbers lately, and I feel like Splatoon 2 gets its campaign DLC 8 months after launch, and 8 months after Odyssey launch would be E3, so I feel like we hear about it there. It's a little bit of a delay, but Nintendo knows their games are evergreen, so who really cares? I do gotta give them like sky-high love for supporting their titles so long. Splatoon 2, even ARMS, hopefully Mario Odyssey, but they really have kicked butt in the support department. We have Pokken Tournament DLC later this month on March 23rd, same day as Detective Pikachu, who has the weirdest voice, and that thing is so freaking strange. I don't know what they were thinking. It must have been the same people that designed today's Splatoon 2 Octoling DLC trailer in the hip-hop train. What is going on? But I fully think we get both those, Fire Emblem and Mario Odyssey Kingdoms DLC. Now, Call of Duty on Switch is a different beast. I'm very surprised it wasn't announced today, especially given the convergence of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 being announced and the Direct. But there is some oddity there, because when approached about Black Ops 4 on Switch, they didn't say no, they just said we have no comment at this time, which led people to believe it was going to be announced at the Direct, and then it wasn't, so what's going on? Well, maybe Nintendo wants to make it more a part of their E3 Direct, and so they're saving that announcement for that date. I don't think there's any exclusivity. I don't think Call of Duty unveils itself at E3. In fact, it's going to be on May 17th at the community event. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo's strategy is to unleash third-party awesomeness at E3 in the form of multi-platform day-and-date releases. So yes, get the ports out of the way. South Park, Fractured Butthole announced today. You got Dark Souls Remastered, obviously, Okami HD, yada, yada, yada. But the real big deal is what fall games that are going to be popular and big sellers are coming to Switch. And if that is the plan, then I think Black Ops 4 gets announced there alongside my prediction of Madden and something else from Ubisoft. They are bringing South Park, but that's not it. That's coming out in April, and they gotta have a fall presence on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know who wouldn't want to. I saw today that Nintendo is expected to overtake Microsoft in terms of console video game share in the industry. Last year they were close, $8 billion for Nintendo, $10 billion for Microsoft. This year it's supposed to be Nintendo 11, Microsoft 9. That's insane. Overtaking Xbox and Microsoft in the second year of Switch. Who boy, Kimishima and co are going on vacation to the moon, or maybe to Mars. Elon Musk is going to put them in that passenger seat on his freaking new Tesla, and him and Miyamoto are going to go make a game with Matt Damon about gardening on Mars. Pikmin on Mars. You heard it here first. In the meantime, though, I do think that every major publisher is going to want to be a part of Switch this fall, and I think E3 is going to be the spot where we hear that. If we don't, I'm worried, because then it's not about sales. It's not about dollars. I don't know what it is. I think there's a line in the sand at E3, and either third parties and publishers are on board or they're not. I've heard some people say it's still too early, development takes time. I feel like they've had enough time, right? This will be a year and a half of Switch once we arrive at E3, and basically 2 years of Switch once we round out this calendar year. So if you don't have your games, EA, Ubisoft, and Activision on the Switch by this fall, this Christmas holiday season, what are you doing? Port houses have been pretty successful. We've even seen Iron Galaxy, who did a lovely job with Skyrim on Switch, offer to bring Monster Hunter World. Bravo to them too. A lot of bravos today. I mean, we got Nintendo announcing Smash, Capcom with the best-selling game in their entire history, Monster Hunter World in 2 months, dropping 7.5 million units. That's insane. The PC version is still coming. It's not coming to Switch, but I'm sure when the dedicated Switch edition of Monster Hunter, whatever it may be and whenever it may be, hits, that's gonna do gangbusters. Like, I think 7.5 million on Switch alone is possible, depending on when it releases. Not this year, obviously. Maybe not even next year, but if we're sitting at like 30, 40 mil Switch by then, Nintendo players love their Monster Hunter, and handheld people love their Monster Hunter. So if you can get that 3DS audience on board, you can get that handheld audience on board, Monster Hunter Switch could be big. Maybe not 7.5 million, but it's going to push millions. I think Call of Duty still happens. To sort of get back on track here, I think Black Ops 4 is still coming to Switch. I think Activision showed commitment today with Crash, and maybe they wanted to let that sink in. Maybe this all is like so expertly planned out that Call of Duty gets announced, Crash gets announced for Switch, but they don't want to overshadow Crash, but they don't want to undercut Black Ops 4, so they just decided to say, hey, we'll save the Nintendo side of things for E3. That's what I believe. That's my personal prediction. Fortnite, on the other hand, I don't know what's going on. I feel like at this point it has to come to Switch. If you are on PC and Xbox and PS4 and freaking iPhone and Android, how are you not on Switch? Basically, it's the only thing not there. But maybe, again, this is an E3 announcement that Nintendo really wants to go gangbusters and say, like, we are the place to play, yo, Pokemon, Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Smash Bros. One console that does it all. And obviously it doesn't do amazing graphics. It's not going to give you Spider-Man, Detroit, God of War, Days Gone, Halo, Sea of Thieves. It's not going to give us everything. We're not going to see freaking Battlefield 5, I don't think, on Switch. But that's a pretty enticing package. If you're going to say to a shopper around holiday 2018, yo, the Nintendo Switch plays Pokemon, Smash Bros, and Call of Duty on the go for $300 or on your TV, with an online service that costs $20 a year? Like, Let's just paint the town gold already. Give Kimishima and give Reggie a gigantic Scrooge McDuck pool of gold coins and let them swim, because that is absolutely disgusting. A system that does all of that in one holiday season, holy cow. I think Super Smash Bros. Is a port with additional content. I don't think it's a new game. I've been seeing this like idea that it's a new game. I don't think so at all. I think it's a port with extensive new content. It's going to merge the 3DS and the Wii U content, and it's going to add 4 or 5 characters, some Switch-dedicated stages, and maybe a few features. It's going to focus heavily on online play, tie into that September launch of the online Nintendo Switch service, and clear the way for a Pokemon in November, which I heard this morning could be a reboot. I don't think that means a return to Red and Blue. I think that means a restructuring of the mechanics and a whole new idea, given that this will be the first mainline console Pokemon game. Why not go big? They're not going home. Not with that lineup. And I think that year 2 gets exciting. I'm surprised we didn't see Yoshi today. I'm surprised we didn't see Fire Emblem. I think Fire Emblem appears at a Direct. I think Yoshi is saved for E3. I don't know what's going on with that game, why it was announced so early to then not show much. Maybe it was part of the plan, but I feel like maybe something got tangled along the way. Captain Toad. Power to Captain Toad. I'm part of that clan. Put him on my Switch. I love it. I hope there's an extensive amount of new levels, and I hope that the GameStop pre-order placeholder price of $60 is flat out wrong, because that game was $40 when it launched on Wii U, and if they try to charge me $60, I'll still love the Switch and still buy Smash. I'm so pumped to play the Inklings. I love them. Now I want some ARMS characters. Give us Twintelle. Be really weird and give us Twintelle. I know Springman is the sensible choice, but be really weird and give us Twintelle. You're obsessed with butts for whatever reason. That Octoling girl walking through the train, her hips were wide enough to deliver triplets. What the heck? Kanye West is now a designer at Nintendo. Did you know this? Did you know this? I give the overall show an A-. I think it was sort of treading dangerous ground, because like ports, no Fire Emblem, ports, no Yoshi, ports, oh my god, Smash Bros. So they really saved the day there. But when you look at it from a step back, as a random day in March Direct, they announced some cool new stuff that are keeping the content flowing. The indie scene is thriving. We got Undertale. I was sad that there's no Hollow Knight announcement. I don't really like them embracing this whole "it'll come when it's ready" thing, because that's sort of the MO in the indie space. Where is Flipping Death? Where is Wargroove? Where is Hollow Knight? Where is Pocket Rumble? Where are some of these indies that were announced at the initial Nindies Direct that still have not seen the light of day? Like, get those to us before you get going with something else. I was happy to see Dylan make a return on 3DS. It's not Switch, but it's 3DS. And again, that WarioWare game looks sick. I will be holding out for an eventual Switch 3DS convergence, but I don't know that it happens at this point. The fact that they're announcing Switch or 3DS games for 2019, maybe they really just want to have that system thrive and have a cheap price point entry for the Nintendo ecosystem, and it's in the form of the 3DS or the 2DS. There'll probably be a successor at some point. And now I'm thinking that there will be a handheld that is separate from Switch. I don't think maybe they don't like the idea of unification. Maybe in some ways they do, maybe it helps in certain things with like, oh, the ability to put something on 3DS and Switch, like they're doing with Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, or that weird sushi game. But maybe they're just gonna embrace the 2-pillar idea forever. Could be. Love the show, love Smash. When you step back and eliminate assumptions and erase some of what the leakers said, you're like, dude, that was a pretty good show from March 8th, 2018, out of nowhere, announced 2 days ago. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. That being said, I'm counting on E3 being huge. If this unveiled Smash, what do they have at E3? If this unveiled a bunch of old ports, I hope they have day and date really, really exciting ports / multi-platform releases at E3. And I think that this is one of those shows that, in hindsight, will look a lot better than it was here, especially if Tennis Aces reviews well. That game could be a sleeper. It's a summer gem that I'm looking forward to, and I love that Nintendo is packing in the 3 months that most game companies ignore. We thought we'd be getting Red Dead this year. We're not. Labo and God of War hit in April, so we need some good stuff for May, June, July, and Nintendo is definitely delivering. But if E3 is an awesome expose of Nintendo prowess, then this Direct looks great. If E3 is not, maybe this Direct looks a little lackluster, but at the time being, I'm giving it an A-. What do you guys think? How do you feel about some of the things we discussed today? The absent games, when we'll see them, Smash being a port or a new game, let me know in the comments down below. I love Nintendo Directs, they're so much fun. Sounds like Xbox is doing something similar on Saturday, so maybe we'll have good stuff to review this weekend. Until that time, everybody, I love you, have a fantastic day, drink some hot chocolate. I'm really having fun making videos again, and I like my green screen, and I like you too. So, drink some hot chocolate, and we'll see you all later.